Hello, hello, my silky friends. Gosh, I have missed y'all. Let me open the comments here. Um, how you doing today? I didn't plan to go live. Ugh, I hate these earbuds. I really do. I only have to have them for one thing, so let me just leave one in. Makes me feel like I'm in a box. Um, hello, Kelt. Yeah, take off your pants if you want to. I mean, who's gonna see you? Not me. Hi, Deb. Tell you to take off your pants. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I know. I didn't give many people notice for this live because honestly, I didn't know I was gonna do it. It was kind of impromptu because gosh, I just miss y'all. Um, and hey, Jinxie. Uh, yeah, I just missed y'all really going live. I haven't been on much this week. I haven't been on Discord much this week. Not like I usually am. So there's a lot of reasons for that. Mostly because this time of the year, within like just a couple of weeks, uh, two of my children and myself have a birthday. So yeah, uh, it's been there's been a lot of stuff. Y'all saw my my Pennywise thing probably on my community page or a short. I don't know if you didn't. It was a load of fun. I did drive around town like that for a while, having to pick up stuff. So that was interesting. Yeah. So I really missed you, and I have some things that I actually was going to bring up before, and they've just kind of been sitting in my files, and I wanted to go live now. um yes, it is, Kel. Sometimes it is very nice to take a break. So some of you, probably a lot of you, will be watching this on the replay because I gave like almost no notice. But that's okay, and there's a lot of stuff going on. um these were just some things that made me so mad. I wanted to share them, and I don't think this live is going to be that long. Um, do know that two things. One, I have been very busy editing a video, and this is a vintage video. It's kind of like when I started my channel last year, and it was nostalgia, I guess. I love, love, love telling these stories. It is my favorite thing to do. So, if you like history, if you like a little spooky, if you like weird stories, it's coming out at 5 a.m. in the morning. Hello, Holly Southern Style. Nice to see you. Um, yeah, Holly, you have given me a lot to think about and a lot to study on. So I am going to make a video that has to do with Delphi. I'm not going to go live on it unless you want me to make comments, or you have comments to make that you want to make in a chat. Um, just let me know. I haven't even shot that one yet, but I had some maybe kind of disturbing news yesterday. Uh, it made me really think. It made me very angry. Aside from this news tonight, that's making me very angry. Um, but yeah, it has to do with Delphi, and it has to do with some of the videos that I've done. And yeah, so I'm trying to figure out how to present this because I'm really angry, and I don't want it to come across necessarily that way. I don't want it to be a screaming rant, which is what, by the way, I feel like doing. But I know everybody gets those days. To my subscribers, I think there's a couple of you in here. Or not my subscribers, my members, my channel members. I'm probably going to do another live members only Sunday evening. Also, Sunday afternoon, I'm going to do something with Tanner's case. I don't know if Michelle's going to be able to join me. We've been talking just briefly back and forth. I know she's really busy, but there are some things that I'm looking into that I want to bring to attention. So there'll be that. There'll be two probably on Sunday. Uh, let me see. Let me catch up with y'all. Kel says I'll rant. Oh man, I wish I could just show you some of I got a message yesterday. Actually a couple of messages. And it wasn't directed toward me necessarily, like people weren't mad at me. Hello, Linda K. But there were some things that yeah, it made me really think, and it made me really angry, and I will share that. I will. Um, just gonna be in a little different format. The reason being, I don't want any live chats on that. At first, I want uh, I want people to hear the message, and I want to say what I've got to say without making anybody feel like I'm ignoring them, and that can happen sometimes in chat. Uh, yeah. Oh, yes, Jinx, members only live. It's definitely a no pants time. And you know what? I'm just going to say this. If you are not a member and you missed our first members only live, yeah, there are some things that, yeah, let's just leave it at that, right? Um, that was probably my favorite live is our members only. By the way, just so y'all know, because we talked about this, and I don't think everybody knows this, but when like if you hit a super chat or sticker or whatever, and you're giving money on a live, we really don't see much of that. Okay, without saying the name of the platform and making them further angry at me because apparently they already have issues with me. Um, Without doing that, they get a good chunk of change. If you ever want to support the channel, like I've got to buy me a coffee. I don't even know what the link is. I've really never used it, and I don't use any of the other stuff. But if you do want to support the channel in any way, shape, or form, I do get a bigger percentage off channel memberships, which are $4.99 a month. And that's and if you don't want to, if you are overextended, that's fine. No hard feelings. But there are some things that I will uh, share with only channel members, and mostly that's more on the personal and group, like live group chats. So y'all, members, Sunday night, probably around 6 or 7, and um, please make preparations to get on panel with me, okay? Because that was so much fun. Oh, good, Bossy. Aw, Jinxie, thank you. Look, I want to gift some memberships. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I can only do this when we're live, which is really hard for me because I'm talking. Uh, yeah. Yeah, and definitely when I do my other video, if y'all want to talk about that, be thinking, channel members, about what you want to discuss on our live chat. All right, I have digressed long enough. I'm gonna go over to. Thank you so much, Jinx, for lurking peeps. Who's lurking? Who's lurking? Oh, it's okay. Some people are just lurkers. Oh, some people are lurkers. That's okay. Uh, Let me make sure I haven't missed anything going on. Um, I had a very interesting birthday. It was, sometimes it's just not what you think it's going to be. So, but I'm making up for that now by spending time with y'all. It's 101 today. Oh my gosh, it was 100 here. It hit 100 here, and I'm just going to tell you right now, I've got the fan blowing on me, and I still am sweating like a. I don't know what I can say here. So y'all know. Y'all know. Okay, but now here are some things. I've got 3 different things. Hello, Mother of Dragons. I have 3 different things that I wanted to talk about tonight, just to keep you, informed, because everybody should everybody should be able to get angry. So let me change this up a little bit. Okay, we're gonna talk about her, but that's not where we're starting. Um, Carlee Russell. We're gonna end up in Alabama. We're starting some other places, and I kind of wish Coach Kev was here, because this is up in his area. Kev and I really wanted to do a live together this week, but his schedule, my schedule, they weren't jiving. But this is now. Oh wait, no. I take this back. This is in California. That was something else. Okay, Antioch, California. Let me go ahead and let me play you some of this. And because of YouTube and the whole 9 yards of copyright strikes and all that crap, I'm going to have to pause this every few seconds. But let's go ahead and watch this one.
Is what is being alleged in referring to someone in an official position who deprives someone else of their constitutional rights, which is what is being alleged in many of these documents.
The indictment describes how defendants boasted about their illegal uses of force in text messages between one another.
Within these 4 indictments, 9 sworn police officers and 1 community officer with not only the Antioch Police Department, but the Pittsburgh Police Department as well. As to some of the charges:
conspiracy to violate wire fraud, conspiracy to distribute anabolic steroids, wire fraud, numerous civil rights violations, destruction, alteration, and false.
Okay, now remember, this is talking about police officers. If you didn't hear this story, this came out about a week ago, and the FBI got involved, okay?
Of records in federal investigations and obstruction of justice.
The indictment shows numerous text messages discussing use of force on individuals. In 2020, one officer texts this to another: "LOL, what did you get?" Then a derogatory term for a person of color. In another alleged text, an officer writes, "I walked out the tent and game planned how to expletive him up. Went back and did justice. Wish you were there, inside a tent with no cams."
Collectively.
Okay, did you hear what he said? I mean, basically, they are talking about inciting violence in a place where there were no cameras. I think this one is almost done.
These 4 indictments describe a group of officers who acted as though they were above the law.
One of the indictments also alleges that an officer used his personal cell phone to tip off the target of a wiretap. 8 of these officers have already had first appearances in court. 2 more will have that soon. These crimes have maximum sentences of 10 to 20 years in jail.
Okay.
What is being alleged?
Let me go back to your comments. All right, so did you catch kind of what is going on here? I mean, this was a horrific and I know, I sound like I'm anti-police all the time. I am not. Those of y'all who really follow this channel, you know that I'm not. I work with police officers. We need our policemen, okay? But sometimes you have somebody who is so dirty and so corrupt, and unfortunately, that happens probably more than we'd like to think about it, okay? Because it's, you give some people power. I mean, Lord, you see that even on social media, right? Somebody becomes an influencer, somebody, has some kind of clout, and all of a sudden they're going off the deep end. Y'all all know. We can all think of situations like this. Kelt says, "Do you think there's a shift in some officers?" Yes, I do. I do, Kelt. I think there is a shift in officers after they're in that environment, because maybe because they see other officers doing things. Maybe it's that power trip. I know I've been stopped by, I know it's hard to believe I'd be doing anything illegal on the road, right? But I have been stopped by some really nice officers. Even if I got a ticket, they were very polite. But I have also been stopped by some really arrogant people when I really was not doing anything. Okay, just somebody looking for a reason to give you a ticket. And my temperament is not one that if you come at me, with that attitude, I'm probably going to be a little bit unladylike. Okay, let's just put it that way. A little unladylike in my responses to you. Um, does it usually buy me a ticket? Of course it does. I actually haven't gotten a ticket in a very long time, but uh, it's true, Cal. At any job, when you come in, you start to adapt to the work environment. Yeah, of course you do. But now, some of these things, okay, let me say, it says 9 current or former Antioch and Pittsburgh, and this is in California, police officers and 1 community service officer. Uh, they were charged with, look, they were uh, civil rights violations, fraud, trying to distribute anabolic steroids. I mean, okay, first of all, steroids make you more irritable. Do we really need police officers on steroids? Because here's the thing, I tell the officers I work with every single day, um, I don't know how they do what they do. All right. It's, you can be the nicest person in the world, but when you start working in an environment with people who will try every bit of patience that you have, and they really are not trying to do better. Okay, the recidivism, I know you've heard about that. Basically, we have a bunch of file drawers of, we keep files for the last active for the last 2 or 3 years, and most of the time I do not have to make a file on somebody, because I'm like, I look at our roster when I come into work and, see who's been picked up, and I'm like, seriously, are you back again? Really? You just left 3 weeks ago or 2 months ago. If they stay out a couple of months, they're doing pretty good. So what we see, I mean, occasionally you get somebody in there for, something, and they don't come back. But most of the time, it is these same faces over and over and over. And so, you develop an attitude, okay? Uh, it's earned. I'm not saying that it's necessarily right, but you already know these people. You already know what they're capable of. They lie to you. They cheat. What? They're criminals. They are just criminals. And some people do reform. Not many. I'll be honest with you. Not many do. Most end up in the county jail over and over and over until they do something and they go to prison. So there you go. Um, for that reason, it makes officers, anybody who consistently works, and I'm sure Ruckus could tell you the same thing, anybody who has to work with these people over and over, especially the same kind, all right, you get a little bit more aggressive. You just do. Because they don't seem to understand niceties. Okay, they don't. You can be nice and polite, and about 80% of them are not going to respond to that. So you kind of have to speak their language, and that means that you are more aggressive. So now we got some police officers, distributing steroids. I'm sure they're taking steroids. That is the last thing that we need. um, Oh, hello, Four Pets. How you doing? Let me go back up here and hi, Watha. Yeah, sweating like, okay, yeah, yeah. I wasn't gonna say that, but that's what I was thinking. Absolutely. So, I mean, have y'all had any dealings with? Do you know what I'm talking about, or is this like foreign to you? Because I think before I started working in corrections, I did a lot of prison ministry, like way long time ago, and I had a lot of compassion, and I still don't get me wrong, I still have a lot of compassion for inmates and when they are truly sick and when they've truly got problems. But that being said, I definitely have gotten more aggressive, and I don't like that. I don't like that about myself. But have any of y'all ever? Do you know what I'm talking about? Um, yeah, talking about the police officers. Yeah, it's beyond. It's beyond. It's true. There are bad apples in all walks of life. Yeah, because, and I didn't include this one, but one of the other ones I'm furious about is that crazy nurse that decided to unalive those little babies. Like, yeah, I, you know, I could think of a punishment for her, uh, but it's gonna stay in my head. Okay, SRB, good to see you. Um, Holly Southern Style says they absolutely need to stop passing the bad officers that they get rid of. Yeah, to one department or another. Again, yeah. In places like Delphi, they need to be forced to wear body cameras. Yes, yes. I honestly think all officers need to be wearing body cameras, especially the ones out in the field. I guess. I mean, we have body cams in the jail, but I think when you're when you're talking about what happens with officers, and like I said, I've had some bad ones that have stopped me for traffic violations, and I would love for them to have been wearing a body cam and go before the judge and say, hey, do you see this jack wagon? Look at the way that he started this conversation. But that's just me. Um, all right. Oh yeah, Linda Kay. What would happen to civilians? Let me get back up there to that. What would happen to civilians if they acted this way? Well, you know what? Um, they'd be in jail. They'd be in jail. So yeah, I mean, there are some things. Let me go further to down here, and it goes into all these people. Okay, so basically what happened is they have been watching these officers, and they are now spread out to different states. They've been watching these officers for a while, brought in the FBI, which in my opinion is something Delphi should do. Yeah, I would say we have a better chance with the FBI not being corrupt, but nah, who knows. um but yeah, they had warrants in California, Texas, and Hawaii. um I think there were 9. Didn't they say there were 9? Um, the mayor says today is a dark day in our city's history. Yeah, it is, but I don't think it's shocking. And I would say that pretty much for everywhere. However, it's just not acceptable. Um, okay, now these are talking about the text between them. The text also described recently retired police chief Stephen Ford, who is African American, in racially derogatory terms. They also contained homophobic slurs and suggested violence against unhoused people. Okay, so, you're talking about the chief of police, and you're going to tell me that your officers are texting each other, because, like, look, when you dive into this story, you can see some of the texts, and they are horrid, absolutely horrid. And so you're going to tell me you've got all these people working underneath you, and they are texting each other with racial slurs and stuff like that. That is in my opinion, they should lose the right to ever be an officer again. Now, I don't know how that works. I don't know. Uh, Probably need to ask Ruckus what happens. I mean, I can tell you what happens in our area. They get fired, and probably are going, well, in with everything they did, they're going to go to jail. I mean, if it's just texts, they may be able to get a job in another county, not ours certainly, but you know, but then you're just perpetrating the whole thing, right? You just continuing it. Um, so yeah, the talking about the FBI, they said, I don't see the feds making a splash this big unless they had something big to prosecute. To me, the wire fraud charges are very interesting, and that means they are transactions that happened and those that are provable. Okay, so they've gotten all these indictments for these officers, and these are things they absolutely can prove. Can you imagine what they can't prove? Uh, what they don't have in black and white? It's scary. It's really scary. Um, so, yeah, uh, you know, you can read here that how disheartened, they're saying the Antioch Police Department uh, acting chief Joe Vigil, is that Vigil? Uh, it is disheartening, and I will tell you, it is just for us when we get an officer in the corrections department, and pretty much. Um, we know pretty much within a short period of time of them hiring in that we need to watch them. It Let me just say this: it's not just the corrections officers. Okay, that can also be medical. But we know within a very short period of time we can tell the kind of things that we know if they're not a problem right now, like they're not doing something right now. We see the signs that they are going to. Sometimes they are coerced by the inmates. For various reasons, and then sometimes they're just plain dirty, and it's very disheartening. It's sometimes heartbreaking because we see so much potential in an officer, like, hey, we know you could do really good. You could rock this job, and yet you were just supremely stupid. Why? I don't know. um well, I just closed that out. Hold on. Okay, okay, okay. Well, what did I do? Oh, sorry, y'all. Sorry, I don't know what I did. Okay, here we go. I don't know. Computer went nuts. Um, so actually, this started. Okay, this is how long that they have been looking at this. September of 2021. So why did it take 2 years? I mean, I know you want to get enough evidence, but come on now, come on. It seems like it makes me wonder what they did. What were you doing to protect people in the meantime? This whole thing infuriates me. Um, just because, yeah, it happens, but this is a large number. So much so that like they said, the FBI is involved. Um, Let me go back to your comments because I am way behind. Oh, Holly, silky temperament flare up. Yeah, yeah. Uh, it's true. Somebody really has to be a horse's rear end um, to get me mad. So Kelt says Antioch is a small town. Oh, look, it's Tuesday and I have a new reminder to take the garbage out. It comes across my computer on my phone. I already did that. So, uh, let's complete that task. All right. 115 law enforcement. Yeah, that's not a whole lot. Still, I mean, how many? What is the percentage? I wonder of people who are really corrupt. Um, Jinxie says my hubby and I are always getting pulled over in certain counties in Indiana. Uh, they're stupid stops, like not using a blinker. We've got a car camera recording to disprove their claims. That is a really good idea. I see a lot of people riding around with cameras, and I've always thought, why? For one thing, it would be distracting to me, but Definitely, definitely in cases like that. And there have been some, things that were able to be proved in court, you know, proven in court. I don't know how to talk. I don't know. Uh, so yeah, those do come in handy. Um, Jinxie, I don't know. If you're like me, you might, that that camera goes. I can go both ways. I wouldn't want my cell phone camera being a horse's rear end. I'm just telling you that because I certainly can be as well. Uh, let's see. I'm wondering if police corruption will increase with the lowering of standards to become one. I read many cities have lowered the standards because people don't want to be cops. Go figure. Hey, you know what? That is true. That is absolutely true. I mean, not to get into politics and all that kind of stuff, but since 2020, since all of the riots and stuff like that, first of all, police, back in the olden days when I was a kid, um, policemen that you used to look up to. It was like, we were always taught you respect and you look up to the policemen, the firemen, everybody loves a fireman, right? But unless they're in Florida, I'm just saying. Uh, then maybe not so much. Um, but yeah, it used to be a very respectable, and it still is to a degree. But I think 2020 just really, really hurt the police. Now, should corruption always be called out? Absolutely, absolutely. But honestly, there was so much going on and so much hatred for the police and so many policemen just being shot for no reason. I probably can't say that on YouTube, but whatever. It's what happened. And so, yeah, you have, it makes me laugh though. Here's the thing. It makes me laugh in cities where they defunded the police. And, I'm like, they're, they're saying things like, you don't need the policeman. You need a psychologist. You need, somebody out there, a social worker. I'm like, first of all, if it's domestic violence and somebody that I'm living with is trying to unalive me, first of all, it ain't gonna get that far. They ain't gonna find him. But here's the thing: I do not need a social worker talking to me. I need someone to put that piece of crap's hands in handcuffs and cart them away from me. Okay, counseling, that ain't the place for it. And when I heard people talking about this, I'm like, are you kidding me? I love counselors, okay? Not in this situation. So, you had so many cities, they defunded the police, and it was not very long before they realized, there is a problem. Houston, there's a problem. And but then nobody wanted to be a police officer, okay, because they had caught so much flack, the good officers. And so now those cities are begging for ossifers. Ossifers, that's what you call them when you're a little bit tipsy. Excuse me, ossifer. I wasn't drunken. Uh, but anyway, I cracked myself up. I have to. Nobody else thinks I'm funny. My kids don't. But anyway, when you don't have a hiring pool and you've got to have somebody to do that job, yes, you have to relax the standards. It's like, you used to go to a job interview and, they really would hire someone with experience. But if it's a job that, pretty much most people can do, they don't even care these days because they don't have people that want to work. And just imagine the police, all the stuff that you have to see. It is a horrible thing. And I know even with us at the jail, yes, we would love to have very, seasoned officers to hire, but you know, sometimes you don't have that option. It's like you need somebody there, and it's like, well, all right, you think you can do this? Okay, welcome aboard. Okay, Fort Pitt says, I want you all to look up ex-LE officer Dunning, Carroll County. He's the he's this type. Look up what he did to lose his job. I think Fort Pitt's somewhere in the back of my head. I think I know that story, but it's been a while. If anybody knows what that is, there are some horrible things. Horrible. And I'm just going to tell you, Carroll County and some of the surrounding counties, I mean, you really know how to pick them. Just saying. Wasn't the head Indiana FBI guy the one that covered for Nasser? Yes, Jay Abbott. He certainly was. He certainly was. Good friend of Doug Carter, FYI. Yeah, I did a whole video on Jay Abbott and his lunacy and his shenanigans. And I wasn't very happy in that video either. I'm just going to tell you, I was mad. Holly, absolutely, absolutely. One bad cop can corrupt a whole department. Yeah, sure can. All right. Let me keep going through here. Cal, Devil's Advocate. How are those texts different than the shop talk type of humor you hear ex cops say on YouTube say? Yeah, you know what? That's a question I had as well because I don't know how to say this without really saying a whole lot, but there is a whole different language that is spoken around police officers, as there is in medical too. You would be shocked at what medical people talk about, but it's different, and there are a lot of things. Yeah, it's a whole culture, and so I'm assuming, okay, and this may be wrong on my part, but I'm assuming that these texts were not kidding. They were not cutting up. They were explicitly derogatory, that they were sincere. I would tremble to think sometimes of what people would say about my text to, close friends as I'm just cutting up, but they know me. They know me. But if I ever got called into court, it's like, you got text in there about burying somebody in the backyard. Yeah, but I didn't mean it. Go check my backyard. There's nobody buried there yet. So just teasing. Don't call Homeland Security. But yeah, like that's, it is what it is. And yeah, I mean, I think anybody's text could be scrutinized, and perhaps that was overstepping. I don't know. I hope that's not the case. I heard that's why they didn't want to release the Flora 911 call because of some racist remarks. You know what, Holly? I would not be surprised. I would actually be surprised if there wasn't. I mean, we all have our theories as to why they didn't and they won't release those 911 calls. We tend to think it's, maybe because, and it could be, throwing somebody under the bus, doing something that they weren't supposed to, looking at the timeline. But it is very, very likely. I don't know exactly where that came from, but I am relatively confident in saying that it is probable. Okay. I think it's very probable. And so that would be very embarrassing. So even if there was nothing wrong, come on, who we kidding? There's a lot wrong with Flora. The timeline stinks. Okay. But outside of that, and some of the things that, people were doing there at the time, the 911 call, I don't know what could be so bad in it, except for racist comments, and that is a problem there in Flora and in Carroll County, and we all know it. It's a problem in Indiana. It's a problem everywhere, but it seems to me from comments that I've heard from other residents that it is a huge problem. And look, People are going to feel how they're going to feel. But if you are making a call, an emergency call, for God's sakes, don't put any of your personal feelings into this, okay? Especially something like that. But yeah, it would not surprise me at all. Um, you're not going to change somebody's mind, but for heaven's sakes, hey, Danger Dave, hello, hello. Um, yes, it does show their racism, Holly. Linda Kay says, freedom, that's freedom of choice. So in reality, people choose to be bad. Yeah, they do. A lot of times they sure do. Some people just really don't know how else to be. Um, I'm going through these really quick. I'm so far behind. Uh, y'all, if hello Keith, hello Keith Kellogg. I hope I'm not like there's so many things, but I've got some other stories, and I don't want to take a whole lot of your time tonight. These are just things that you know they've made me really mad. Um, let me go on because let me just go ahead and show a picture of these two guys, and we're gonna finish with this. This really wasn't a video about police corruption, although it's turned out to be, hasn't it? Daniel Harris and Timothy Manley Williams. Look, there you go. Look at them. Get a good look at them. All right, this is what they did. Wenger, along with former Antioch officer Daniel Harris, was also charged with possession of and conspiracy to distribute anabolic steroids, which we talked about. Former Antioch officer Timothy Manley Williams was charged with obstruction for allegedly interfering with an ongoing homicide. What? An attempted murder investigation targeting an Oakland based gang believed to be responsible for several pew pews. Um, man, seriously? Seriously, y'all. Um, it's bad enough. Okay, it's bad enough that you are obstructing justice or you're, selling steroids or whatever in the crap you're doing. But, we're talking about interfering with a homicide investigation. Um, and then people wonder, why there are so many, people in court yelling, I'm innocent. I mean, some people obviously aren't, but you have to wonder. You have to wonder, what's the culture? What's the culture here? All right, I'm done talking about the police for now, okay? Let's look at the next thing that made me hot under the collar. And that's this guy, the Long Island SK. It's all over the news. I've been following that story for a long time. But this, let me make sure, yeah, that's good. But this one, okay, you see James Burke on the left. I've talked about him several times. I did a video on him. Coach Kevin and I have talked about him. Me and CJ have talked about him. This man makes me really, really mad. For multiple reasons. But if you look on the right side, this is a woman named Leanne. Now, we all know, if you don't know, James Burke was a crooked cop, crooked for years. He single handedly, just about, kept the LISK case from being solved. And in that 10 plus years that it wasn't solved, could have been solved, in my opinion, their blood is on his hands because he doesn't have to have committed the crimes, but he definitely prevented anyone from being arrested or actually investigated. If you haven't seen that video, go back and watch that. But let's talk about Leanne, this woman on the right. All right. Now, again, we're talking about she was an escort. She worked in the Suffolk County. She was an escort in Suffolk County for the last 6 years. Now, this actually happened a while back. On Thursday, she sat next to the attorney representing the family of Shannon Gilbert, one of the victims of at least 10. I'm sorry, this is so small. I'll read it from my TV. 10 unsolved Gilgo Beach unalivings. She told a story about a party in Oak Beach in August of 2011. 2011. Uh, during the Gilgo Beach investigation, at which she encountered then Suffolk County Police Chief James Burke. That was the guy, Burke. I'm not going to read all this. You can read it. He was very frisky with her, okay? And I did not include a lot of this article because it is, oh my goodness, it is so it's so graphic. I was like, oh, and this was in a newspaper. I'm like, I don't know who y'all audience is, but my goodness, I hope that ain't just like on the streets. I hope this is a members only, paid subscription. It's ridiculous. Um, but anyway, let me go back to this picture and tell you, yes, here's the problem, okay? Shannon Gilbert was probably, we don't know, but she was probably not part of the Gilgo Beach unalivings that they have attributed to Rex Heuermann. She's actually the one, though, that because of Shannon and her disappearance on there at Gilgo Beach, she led them looking for her. They found the other 4 bodies. Okay, so and then they found more than that and more than that. It just goes on and on. But her unaliving was very, very different, and they don't necessarily think that it was Rex Heuermann. Now, here in a nutshell is what Leanne had to say. All right, Shannon was an escort. She had a client out there in a remote area at Oak Beach, which is like Oak and Gilgo are really close together. And she made the 911 call. She was very confused. She was very scared. She goes running off. She disappears. And she's not found for like, I don't know, it's something like 18 months. But in the meantime, there were other escorts who were missing. When they were looking for Shannon, accidentally found her. Well, they didn't find her, but they thought they did. And what they found is the other ladies. And so she's really responsible for bringing it to light. Now, this is in 2011, 2012, okay? 2012, James Burke, really hushes this whole thing. He stops the investigation because of his own corruption, okay? I don't know. I'm on the fence about this. Is James Burke, could he be responsible for some of the actual unalivings? He could be. I mean, you can't, if you're corrupt, you never say never. But he was more of a con artist. He liked to visit the strip clubs. He was more of a player, more of a different kind of crimes, okay? He did not seem to be, at least from what we know and what's been written about him, he did not seem to be that. However, if you read this article and you look up, Leanne and Gilgo Beach, you'll come across this article. There are some very concerning things because he was very rough, okay? And the question is, at Gilgo Beach, was this, okay, did you have 2 sets of unalivings? Okay, we know we have Heuermann, who is very much tied to the 4 victims over there. And then you also have all of these other victims that are scattered about in this very remote area. They don't fit the profile of the way that Heuermann, now, serial killers, I can't say that. I just did live. They can change their MO, okay, but they usually don't so much. But it has, a lot of people have been wondering, was there somebody else? Now, Shannon was a party girl. We'll just call it that. We'll just say that. That sounds nicer, doesn't it? She was a party girl that had clients out in that area, as did Leanne. So we already know this is a rich area of Long Island. Okay, it's remote, nice houses. These gentlemen, no, these men. There's nothing gentlemanly about them. These these men had tastes and parties. I don't know where their wives were. I don't know. I don't know. Got a lot of questions about that. But apparently, partying out there with some of these businessmen and people of money or reputation or whatever was a thing. So when Leanne goes and she actually says, "Hey, I had this encounter with Burke back in 2011 and it was bad. He was very not nice." Okay? Let's just put it that way because without going into the details, it is awful. It certainly shows a side to his temperament that would make you wonder if he had it in him to do this. However, what about all these other guys' houses? You know, how about all these other people? You've got all these other, bodies showing up. And so I'm wondering, did Burke suppress that because he was partying with them? Did he know? Rex Heuermann, he was a architect in Manhattan. I mean, don't tell me he didn't have connections and he didn't have money because he certainly did. If did he party with them? So I guess what I'm asking is not only Mr. Burke stifled this investigation for 10 years, but for 10 years, these parties could keep going on. Bodies could keep piling up. And, yeah, so when Leanne tried to tell people, hey, Burke, he's sus, he's not a good guy, yeah, who's going to believe an escort, right? So yeah, this made me furious. Again, even when Burke was forced to resign, I guess in 2012, there was still so much corruption and people under his lead. Let me go back to what you're saying. Um, what? I look. I just well, yeah, I do. Keith, why don't you email me or give me a time when we can talk about that? If you want to go live, that's fine. If you don't want to go live, that's fine. I want to hear about that. That was some crazy crap, and that's back over there in Indiana. Okay. So really fast, yeah. I'm gonna try to end this pretty quick. Was he a part of the underground party scene? Perhaps involved with working women at private parties. Possibly. By the way, yeah, Holly, the architect on the Trump Tower, that was Rex Heuermann. Yeah. Uh, yeah, I want. Holly says, Keith, I want to hear more. Me too. Me too. Um, yeah, we have to be very careful on how we say that. Let me make this a little bit smaller. Um, on how we present that on YouTube because bad things happen. But anyway, yeah. So, are any of y'all following LISK? I know most people are. Most people on this channel are focused on Indiana and some Kokomo and Flora and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just telling you. This news made me so angry. And then let's go back to Alabama's favorite right now. Here we got here we've got Carlee Russell. Now y'all know the story. It was everywhere. Carlee sees a toddler on the side of the interstate and you know disappears and yada yada. Shows up at her parents' house 2 days later. This is what made me mad, and I'm gonna end with this. I was watching some stuff. When the story first broke, there were a lot of people that did not believe. A lot of, and I'm talking about Birmingham natives, okay? People who lived there in Hoover, they all they were all calling crap on Carlee, okay? They were all calling BS because basically the area, all right? We know what that area is like. she's not the only one. My goodness, I'm bright. See if I can shade myself. She's not the only one, for sure, that would have seen the toddler. Okay, so you know, nobody really, to be honest with you, nobody believed that. We all had our doubts, but this is what made me mad. First of all, the charges they're amount to at this point amount to a slap on the wrist. But what made me mad is when she finally did agree to an interview, she had a description. Okay. She had a description of her alleged kidnapper. Might as well say it because I've said everything else tonight. Um, and her alleged kidnapper, she said, had red hair that had like a big hole in it. So I guess she means partially balding. I'm assuming, okay? So let me just say this is an assumption, but saying that he had red hair would lead me to believe that she was talking about a white man. I could be wrong. My problem with that is uh what are you trying to do, Carlee? If you are saying that someone, I mean, look, that's just y'all. Birmingham has a history, all right. And honestly, for the most part, I don't think it's really that bad. There are people, of course, there are people. There are people on both sides. There are people that are wrong, okay, on both sides. But in general, it's like any other city. There are certain areas that you don't go, not because of the color of their skin as much as the criminal element. Okay, it's a bad part of town. Um, for the most part, I think civilized adults in Birmingham are don't have any issues. Are friends with, socialize with people of all races. It's pretty cosmopolitan, across the board, except for certain areas. So when you are saying that there's a redheaded man, first of all, I take offense at that. And it's just BS. You are trying to incite a riot, okay? What are you doing? Are you just trying? Are you working for somebody? Are you just trying to start crap in Birmingham? Because that's not okay with me. You want to go out and tell fibs and lies about, a toddler, and, you were somewhere doing whatever you wanted to do for a couple of days, and then you come home. Okay, that's embarrassing. You used a lot of resources. Yeah, people can get mad about that. That is not what I'm really mad about. I'm mad about what could have potentially happened with her if they had really given this description out. Now, I think by the time the police found her and interviewed her, they already were calling BS, because I've listened to a lot of stuff, around just after she was found, and a lot of people saying, "No, I don't believe this. This is crap." So I think that's why the police didn't make a big deal. But just imagine if your story had been a little bit more believable. Where would we be now, Carlee Russell? So, and that has nothing to do with who you are, the color of your skin, whatever. It's wrong. It is wrong to put that on on somebody else, and it makes me wonder if it was on purpose. Now maybe it wasn't. Maybe you just making stuff up. I don't know, you and your Cheez-Its and whatever. Whatever. Uh All right, so that is right about the things that have made me really mad. So you got to listen to me rant tonight about some news. Um, all right, Holly says, where did it go? Now it makes me want to know if he knew Epstein. Yeah, yeah. There are a lot of things that I want to know, and you know what? That John Bonet case, that's something else. Um, okay, yeah, Keith, the thing if you want to call in, that would be great. um I really need to I think are we in a Discord together somewhere where you could give me your email? Because and here's the thing, I don't mind throwing a link up, but the last time I threw a link up on a live pen on a open panel, it was a disaster. Okay. So I would rather know. That's why, on members only, I don't care. First of all, there's not that many, and so I'm not that worried about it. Um, I'm gonna have to look at some of your comments. Y'all always have the best comments. All right. So, yeah, there are some things going on with Delphi. There's a lot of stuff that I'm trying to stay out of. But again, we'll bring it back up. Of course, Kokomo. There is a case in Ohio I just heard about. It's several years old. My goodness, my. Um, all right, tell me what you think. What questions do you have? What is the most interesting thing that you think is going on now, whether it's Flora, Kokomo, Delphi, or any other case? Um, what's what is it that you say, Jinx? What's better in your biscuits or something like that? What's better in your biscuits right now? Because there is so much going on. Um, thank you so much, Jinxie, for modding for me. I'm about to cut this off. Wait, what? You get kicked off. Wait. Okay, I don't know. Keith Kellogg, where do you get kicked off from? Somebody else's? Are you getting kicked off somebody else's live? Because I don't know. Let me see. I don't think you're getting kicked off here. Yeah, Kokomo sickens me too. Um, oh, better in my biscuits. That means getting complimented. Okay. Well, I can't think of exactly what we say here, but I mean, when we say better in my biscuits, it doesn't always mean that. It can mean something that makes you happy. Like, butter makes me happy. I'm just saying. If it's real butter, not that margarine crap. Real butter makes me happy. But it's like something is giving you, you know, joy. Joy. Uh they kicked me off from YouTube. Okay. All right, you have to tell me about that. Yeah, I haven't been kicked off, but definitely been having some issues. We'll talk about that. All right. If you think of anything else that you want to talk about, think about, I really want to have an open panel, y'all. I really, really do. Um, the problem is that uh, it's like I put a link up there, and I don't want some of these yahoos getting on there, cluttering up and fights. It's ridiculous. I don't know what kind of people. I don't know what kind of people do this. I really don't. People who don't have lives. Uh, and I don't care who you are. If this is your entertainment, is trolling other people, then get a life, buddy. Because you don't have one. You know, you have nothing meaningful to say. Whatever. So, troll me. I don't care. I don't care. Probably looked insane when I said that. Anyway, I would love to have an open panel. If somebody can figure out, we can talk about whatever you want to. Are you in a Discord with me? Or, hey, you can email me at silkyandSouthern at gmail. SilkyandSouthern at gmail. Email me. That is the best way, honestly, to do an open panel, unless it's a members only group. Okay, because then I don't have trolls. That's why I like that's why I like having members, because when you do those kind of talks, you know who you're talking to, even if you don't know who they are, don't know their face. I mean, you don't have to put your face on there if you don't want to, but you know that they are actual people who watch your channel and support your channel, as far as, and I don't mean monetarily, I mean, you're not out here trolling me. So it's great, and I'll throw up all kind of open links for that. It's harder when you got this going on. I think we're in Duty Ron together. I don't think I'm in Duty Ron. Somebody have to tell me about that one. I don't know. I'm in several. Uh, yeah. Snay is not a fan of several people. Yes, no troll zone. Absolutely. All right, I'm gonna let y'all go. Thanks for coming out and hanging with me for a few minutes. I know this is probably not what you necessarily expected, but these are the things that, have gotten me really steamed up this past week. I do plan to do another Long Island escape, excuse me, with Coach Kev, and I would love to do anything with CJ. Hello, Unmasked Truth. Yeah, I know. I didn't give this one an announcement. But again, if you, and I will tell you this, just because we're going to go, we just talked about some things going on. So I try to keep this short. I don't want this one to be a long one. Remember, I've got a old school vintage crime video coming out tomorrow. If you're interested in that kind of thing, I am. I just am. I'm a nerd. What can I say? Thank you so much for being here. Um, yeah, Holly, I'm not sure. She said, I'm not sure who some of these creators are okay with. Uh, for me, I am okay with almost anybody. Okay. Almost. And I don't say names. Okay. I just don't. There are a few people I'm not okay with. Um, but I'm not saying that I wouldn't go on panel with them, even if they can behave themselves and act in a decent manner. I would go live with anybody pretty much. I have no hate for anybody. There are people that have questionable morals. Let me put it that way. Backgrounds. Let me say morals. I don't know, because you don't know me. I don't know you, like what you do in private. I don't want to know. Okay, I don't want to know. But I mean, mostly creators who have been really bad and ugly. I want to avoid that if possible, any hate spewing, but then again, it depends. If you're respectful and we can agree to disagree, I'm fine with anybody coming on, just not trolls. Um, all right, okay. I am gonna leave you for tonight because I'm burning up. Like you can probably see that I'm melting as we sit here. I'm gonna be working a lot the next few days, so if I don't respond to you really quickly, it's just because I'm at work. And again, I will have more on Sunday. On Kokomo, there's a bunch of stories. Let me just say this: there's a bunch of stories in that area that I'd like to cover. Lots of nefarious stuff going on. And then I'll do a members only on Sunday night. So, in the meantime, I hope you all stay safe. Watch out for these trolls now. They're everywhere. Everywhere. Anyway, whatever you do, just stay silky. Okay? Bye bye.